Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when we all feel weary, when the weight of the world seems too heavy to bear. We may put on a brave face, push through the day, but deep down we know we are tired. We're not just physically tired, we're tired in our soul, weary from the battles we fought, the burdens we've carried, and the struggles we've endured. But I want you to know something very important today. God knows that you are tired. Weariness is something that every person experiences at some point in life. It's that feeling that creeps in after we've pushed ourselves too hard, gone too far, or carried too much. It's not just a matter of feeling physically tired, though that's part of it. It's a deep, pervasive sense of exhaustion that seeps into every part of our being, our minds, our hearts, our spirits. It's waking up in the morning and feeling like the day is too much to face. It's looking at the task ahead and feeling overwhelmed before you've even begun. It's that silent, persistent thought that maybe, just maybe, you can't keep going like this. Yet in a world that prizes strength, productivity, and relentless forward motion, weariness is often pushed aside. We're taught to push through it, to ignore it, to soldier on as if it's just a minor inconvenience. But the truth is, weariness is more than just a sign that you need a good night's sleep. It's a signal from your body, your mind, and your soul that something needs attention. It's a reminder that you're human, that you have limits, and that those limits are not something to be ashamed of. When you feel weary, it's essential to acknowledge it, to give it the attention it deserves. Ignoring your weariness won't make it go away. It will only make it grow. It will sit in the background, quietly draining your energy, your joy, and your ability to fully engage with life. Over time, I'll acknowledge weariness can lead to burnout, a state where you're not just tired, but completely drained physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's like running on fumes, where every step forward feels like an insurmountable effort. Acknowledge your weariness by giving yourself permission to feel tired. This doesn't mean wallowing in it or using it as an excuse to give up. It simply means recognizing that you are tired, that you've been carrying a lot, and that it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to admit that you're not superhuman, that you need rest, that you need a break. In acknowledging your weariness, you're also taking the first step toward healing and restoration. You're allowing yourself to be honest about where you are, which is the only way to truly move forward. Pretending that you're not tired when you are doesn't make you stronger, it makes you more vulnerable to the very thing you're trying to avoid. By acknowledging your weariness, you're choosing to face it head on, to address it, and to do what needs to be done to restore your strength. It's also important to recognize that weariness doesn't always come from physical exertion. It can come from carrying emotional burdens, from the stress of difficult situations, from the constant demands of life. Sometimes we're weary because we've been carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders for too long. We've been trying to fix everything, solve every problem, be there for everyone, and in doing so, we've neglected ourselves. God sees your struggles in a way that no one else can. Every burden you carry, every tear you shed, every moment of doubt or fear, none of it escapes his notice. He understands the weight of your challenges, even when they're hidden from the world. Those moments when you're alone, wrestling with thoughts that seem too heavy to bear, God is right there with you. He's not distant, watching from afar, but close, intimately aware of the deepest parts of your heart. It's easy to feel alone in our struggles, to think that no one truly understands what we're going through. We may smile on the outside, keeping up appearances, but inside we're fighting battles that others can't see. In those times, it can be tempting to think that even God doesn't see or care. But that's far from the truth. The reality is that God knows you better than you know yourself. He knows the things that weigh you down, the worries that keep you up at night, and the fears that you hesitate to speak out loud. God sees not just the external challenges you face, but the internal battles as well. He understands the complexities of your emotions, the conflicting thoughts, the moments of anger, frustration, and even despair. He sees the effort it takes for you to keep going, the strength it requires to face each day, and the courage it takes to hold on when everything in you wants to let go. He sees the times you've prayed in silence, too tired to find the words, but still reaching out to him with the hope that he hears you. God's awareness of your struggles is not passive. He doesn't just observe, he is deeply moved by your pain. In the scriptures, we see countless examples of God responding to the cries of his people, stepping into their situations with compassion and power. He is a God who is actively involved in your life, who is concerned with every detail of your existence. He sees the battles you fight that no one else knows about, the private wars waged in your mind, the silent prayers uttered in the dark, the quiet resilience you muster just to make it through another day. Even in moments when it feels like your struggles are overwhelming, when it seems like you're carrying more than you can handle, remember that God is aware of every single burden. He knows what you're going through, and he cares deeply. There's no pain you experience that he doesn't feel, no tear you shed that he doesn't notice. God is not indifferent to your suffering, he is deeply connected to it. And in seeing your struggles, God is not just a passive observer, he is actively present, walking with you through every challenge, offering strength when yours is gone, providing comfort when your heart is broken, and guiding you when you feel lost. Divine strength in weakness is a profound concept that challenges our typical understanding of power and capability. In our world, strength is often associated with physical prowess, mental toughness, or the ability to endure hardships without faltering. But divine strength operates on a completely different plane. It is a strength that doesn't rely on human abilities, but rather shines most brightly in our moments of weakness. When we reach the limits of our own strength, we often feel vulnerable and exposed. It's uncomfortable to admit that we can't handle everything on our own, that there are situations where our best efforts aren't enough. But it's precisely in these moments of weakness that divine strength becomes most apparent. Instead of being a sign of defeat, weakness can become the very place where God's power is most evident in our lives. Human strength is finite. There's only so much we can do before we run out of energy, willpower, or endurance. But divine strength is infinite. It doesn't diminish with use, it doesn't waver with time. When we come to the end of ourselves, when our own resources are depleted, that's when God's strength can take over. It's like reaching the end of a rope and finding that there's a hand waiting to pull you up, a hand that is far stronger and more capable than your own. Divine strength in weakness also shifts the focus from what we can achieve to what God can do through us. It's a reminder that we are not the source of our strength, God is. When we rely on our own abilities, we are limited by our human frailties. But when we rely on God's strength, we tap into a power that is boundless. This doesn't mean that we don't face difficulties or that challenges disappear. Instead, it means that we don't have to face them alone and we don't have to overcome them by our own might. There's a profound humility that comes with acknowledging our weakness and allowing God's strength to work in us. It's a recognition that we are not all powerful, that we need help beyond ourselves. This humility is not about feeling less than or insignificant, rather. It's about understanding our true place in relation to the divine. It's about realizing that our weaknesses don't disqualify us from God's love or power. Instead, they are the very opportunities where his strength can be demonstrated. In our culture, weakness is often something to be hidden or overcome. We are encouraged to present a facade of invulnerability, to act as if we have everything under control. But divine strength invites us to be honest about our limitations. It invites us to let go of the need to be strong all the time and to allow God's power to fill the gaps where our strength fails. It's an invitation to rest in the assurance that we don't have to carry the full weight of our burdens, because God's strength is more than sufficient. Rest is an integral part of the journey that is often overlooked or undervalued in our fast-paced world. We live in a culture that glorifies constant activity, where being busy is equated with being productive, and where rest is sometimes seen as a luxury or even a sign of weakness. But in truth, rest is not just a break from the journey, it is a crucial component of it. Without rest, we cannot sustain the energy, focus, and resilience needed to continue moving forward. Rest is where renewal happens. It is in moments of rest that our bodies heal, our minds clear, and our spirits find peace. When we push ourselves too hard without taking time to rest, we risk burnout, exhaustion, and a decline in our overall well-being. Just as the earth needs seasons of dormancy to produce fruit, we too need periods of rest to restore and rejuvenate. These periods are not a waste of time, they are an essential investment in our ability to keep going. Moreover, rest allows us to reflect on the journey we've taken so far. In the stillness of rest, we can gain perspective on where we've been, where we are, and where we're headed. It's a time to assess our progress, to evaluate our goals, and to make necessary adjustments. Without taking time to rest and reflect, we may continue moving forward without really understanding the direction we're going in, potentially missing the lessons and growth that come from the experiences we've had. Rest is also an act of trust. It's a recognition that we don't have to do everything on our own, and that the world doesn't rest entirely on our shoulders. When we rest, we are acknowledging our limitations and surrendering to the reality that we are not in complete control. It's a moment to step back and trust that the work we've done is enough for now, and that it's okay to pause and let things unfold as they will. Resting is not about giving up, it's about recognizing the rhythm of work and rest that allows us to function at our best. In many spiritual traditions, rest is seen as a sacred practice. It is not just about physical rest, but also about resting in a deeper sense, resting in trust, resting in faith, resting in the knowledge that we are cared for by something greater than ourselves. This kind of rest replenishes not just the body, but the soul. It reminds us that we are more than our work, more than our productivity, more than the tasks we accomplish. We are beings in need of restoration, connection, and peace. Rest is also where creativity and inspiration often flourish. When we give ourselves the space to step away from our daily grind, our minds are free to wander, to dream, to imagine new possibilities. Many of the greatest ideas and solutions come not from intense focus, but from the moments of relaxation and rest when our minds are at ease. Rest allows us to approach our challenges with fresh eyes and renewed energy, often leading to breakthroughs that wouldn't have been possible if we had continued to push forward without a break. Finally, rest is about self-compassion. It's about giving yourself permission to stop, to breathe, to take care of your own needs. It's about understanding that you are worthy of rest, that you don't have to earn it by working yourself to the bone. Rest is a gift you give to yourself, recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. It's a way of honoring your own well-being, acknowledging that taking care of yourself is just as important as taking care of the tasks and responsibilities in your life. The power of surrender is a concept that runs counter to much of what we are taught about strength and control. In a world that often values determination, persistence, and the ability to control outcomes, surrender can seem like a weakness or a form of giving up. However, true surrender is not about defeat or passivity. It is about recognizing the limits of our own power and opening ourselves up to something greater. Surrender is a powerful act of faith and trust, an acknowledgement that we do not have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders alone. Surrender begins with the realization that there are aspects of life that are beyond our control. No matter how hard we try, there will be situations where our efforts are not enough, where the outcomes are not what we had hoped for or planned. These moments can be deeply frustrating, leading us to feel as though we have failed or that we must simply try harder. But there is a profound power in recognizing that some things are out of our hands, and that's where surrender comes in. Surrender is not about giving up on our goals or abandoning our dreams. It is about letting go of the need to control every detail of how those goals are achieved. It is about trusting that there is a higher plan at work, one that may be beyond our immediate understanding, but is ultimately for our good. When we surrender, we release the tension and anxiety that comes with trying to force outcomes to align with our expectations. We allow ourselves to be guided by a wisdom greater than our own, one that sees the bigger picture and knows what is truly best for us. There is a deep peace that comes with surrender. When we stop fighting against the current of life and instead flow with it, we find that we are less stressed, less anxious, and more open to the possibilities that lie ahead. Surrender allows us to move through life with a sense of ease, trusting that even when things don't go according to our plans, there is still a purpose and a path forward. It's about releasing our grip on the need to control and instead holding on to the belief that we are being led in the right direction, even if that direction is different from what we had envisioned. Trusting the process is an act of faith that calls us to believe in the journey, even when the destination is unclear. In life, we often face situations where the path ahead is uncertain, where the steps we are taking don't seem to lead us directly to our goals, or where progress appears slow or invisible. In these moments, it's easy to become impatient, anxious, or doubtful, wondering if we're on the right track or if all our efforts are in vain. Trusting the process means choosing to believe that every step we take, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, is leading us closer to where we need to be. When we trust the process, we understand that growth and progress are not always linear. Sometimes the path to success is winding, with detours and obstacles that seem to slow us down or take us off course. But these challenges are not setbacks, they are part of the process itself. They teach us lessons, build our resilience, and prepare us for what lies ahead. Trusting the process means embracing these challenges as necessary steps in our journey, rather than seeing them as hindrances to our progress. It also involves letting go of the need for immediate results. In a world that values instant gratification, it can be difficult to remain patient when our efforts don't yield quick outcomes. But true, lasting success often takes time. The seeds don't sprout overnight, and great achievements are rarely the result of a single grand action. They are the culmination of consistent, steady effort over time. Trusting the process means understanding that the work we are putting in today, even if it doesn't show immediate results, is laying the foundation for the future. Trusting the process also requires us to relinquish our need for control. It's natural to want to have everything figured out, to have a clear roadmap with every step planned in advance. But life doesn't always work that way. There are times when the path is unclear, when the next step is not obvious, and when we have to move forward without knowing exactly where we are going. Trusting the process means having faith that even when we don't have all the answers, we are still moving in the right direction. It's about trusting that the process itself is guiding us, and that each step, no matter how uncertain, is taking us closer to our destination. There is also an element of surrender in trusting the process. It's about accepting that we may not always understand why things happen the way they do, but believing that there is a purpose behind every event, every delay, and every challenge. It's about recognizing that the process is not just about the end goal, but about the growth and transformation that happens along the way. Trusting the process means embracing the journey with all its ups and downs, and believing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Renewed vision through rest is a powerful concept that highlights the importance of taking time to step back, recharge, and gain fresh perspective. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to become consumed by the tasks at hand, to lose sight of the bigger picture, and to feel overwhelmed by the demands placed upon us. When we are constantly in motion, our minds can become cluttered, and our ability to see clearly can be diminished. Rest offers us the opportunity to pause, to clear away the mental fog, and to reconnect with our deeper sense of purpose and direction. Rest is not just about physical rejuvenation, it is also about mental and emotional renewal. When we allow ourselves to rest, we give our minds the space to process what we have experienced, to reflect on our journey, and to rediscover our motivations and goals. This time of rest can lead to a renewed vision, where we see things more clearly, understand our path more fully, and are able to approach our work and life with a refreshed sense of clarity and purpose. In moments of rest, we often find that our creativity is sparked in new ways. When we step away from the constant demands of work and life, we give our subconscious mind the freedom to explore ideas and solutions that we might not have considered in the midst of our busy schedule. Rest allows us to see things from a different perspective, to connect the dots in ways that were not apparent before, and to develop a renewed vision for what is possible. Rest also provides the space for us to reassess our priorities. In the midst of busyness, it's easy to get caught up in tasks that may not be aligned with our true purpose or long-term goals. By taking time to rest, we can step back and evaluate whether the direction we are heading in is truly the one we want to pursue. This renewed vision through rest can lead to important course corrections, helping us to focus our energy on what truly matters and to let go of what is not serving our greater purpose. Furthermore, rest can help us to reconnect with our inner wisdom and intuition. When we are constantly on the go, we can become disconnected from our own inner guidance, making decisions based on external pressures rather than our true desires. Rest allows us to tune back into that inner voice, to listen to what our heart and soul are telling us, and to gain a renewed sense of vision that is aligned with our authentic self. This renewed vision is often clearer, more inspired, and more aligned with our true purpose. In addition, rest helps us to build resilience and endurance. When we are well rested, we are better equipped to handle the challenges that come our way. We are able to approach obstacles with a clear mind, a calm heart, and a renewed sense of determination. This renewed vision through rest enables us to see challenges not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities for growth and learning. With a clear and rested mind, we are more likely to see the potential in every situation and to approach our journey with a sense of optimism and hope. A renewed vision through rest is also about reconnecting with our dreams and aspirations. When we take time to rest, we can revisit the dreams that may have been pushed aside or forgotten in the midst of our busy lives. We can reconnect with the passion and excitement that initially drove us to pursue our goals, and we can gain a renewed sense of vision for how to bring those dreams to fruition. Rest provides the space for us to dream big again, to imagine new possibilities, and to set our sights on the future with a sense of hope and anticipation. Ultimately, renewed vision through rest is about recognizing that rest is not a luxury or an afterthought, but a vital part of the journey. It is through rest that we gain the clarity, perspective, and inspiration needed to continue moving forward with purpose and determination. By embracing rest as an essential part of our lives, we can continually renew our vision, stay aligned with our true purpose, and approach each new day with a sense of clarity and focus. God's provision in exhaustion is a profound expression of divine care and support that comes into play when we reach the limits of our own strength. Exhaustion, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, can leave us feeling drained and depleted as though we have nothing left to give. It is in these moments of utter weariness that God's provision becomes most evident, offering us a source of renewal and sustenance that goes beyond our human capacity. When we are exhausted, our ability to cope, to think clearly, and to maintain our usual level of resilience can be severely compromised. We might struggle with feelings of inadequacy, doubt, or even despair, believing that we have reached the end of our resources. But God's provision in these times is a reminder that we are not alone, that there is a source of strength and support available to us that transcends our own limitations. This divine provision often comes in ways that are unexpected or subtle. It might be through the comfort of a kind word from a friend, the encouragement of a loved one, or a serendipitous event that provides exactly what we need at just the right moment. Sometimes it is through a sense of inner peace or a renewed perspective that helps us to keep moving forward, even when our physical or emotional reserves are nearly depleted. These are manifestations of God's provision, providing us with what we need to continue when we feel we cannot go on. Moreover, God's provision in exhaustion is not just about immediate relief, but also about long-term support. It encompasses not only the strength needed to get through the current moment, but also the guidance and wisdom to navigate the path ahead. In times of exhaustion, we may gain insights and understanding that help us to see beyond our current struggles, to recognize new opportunities for growth, or to find new ways to approach our challenges. In the face of exhaustion, God's provision often invites us to surrender our need for control and to trust in a larger plan. It encourages us to let go of the burden of trying to manage everything on our own and to open ourselves to receiving help and support. This act of surrender is not about giving up on our goals or responsibilities, but about recognizing that we are part of a larger tapestry and that we are supported by forces beyond our immediate understanding. God's provision also includes the promise of renewal and restoration. Even when we are at our lowest, there is a divine assurance that we will not remain in a state of exhaustion forever. Just as the seasons change and bring renewal after periods of dormancy, God's provision offers the hope of restoration and new beginnings. It is a reminder that exhaustion is not a permanent state, but a phase in a larger journey, and that we will be replenished and revitalized in due time. In practical terms, God's provision in exhaustion might lead us to seek out rest, to make self-care a priority, or to find ways to replenish our physical and emotional well-being. It might inspire us to reach out for support, to ask for help, or to take steps to address the underlying causes of our exhaustion. This practical aspect of provision is a reflection of divine care, guiding us towards the actions that will help us to recover and to thrive. Ultimately, God's provision in exhaustion is a profound expression of love and support. It is a testament to the idea that we are not alone in our struggles, that there is a higher power that is actively involved in our lives, offering us strength, comfort, and renewal when we need it most. It is a reminder that even in our weakest moments, we are held and supported by a force that is greater than ourselves, guiding us through the challenges and towards a place of restoration and hope. Keeping your eyes on the promise is about maintaining a focus on the vision and goals that inspire and guide you, even when faced with obstacles and difficulties. It involves holding on to a clear, compelling vision of what you hope to achieve or attain, despite the challenges and distractions that may arise along the way. When you keep your eyes on the promise, you are anchoring yourself to a deeper sense of purpose and direction that can sustain you through times of adversity and uncertainty. In the journey towards achieving a promise, there will inevitably be moments of doubt, difficulty, and discouragement. These challenges can make it tempting to lose sight of your goals, to become distracted by immediate problems, or to question whether the promise is attainable. However, keeping your eyes on the promise means refusing to let these setbacks deter you from your path. It's about remembering why you started, what you are working towards, and the significance of the promise in your life. The promise often represents more than just a specific goal. It embodies a deeper sense of purpose or a vision of what could be. It might be a personal aspiration, a professional ambition, or a dream that aligns with your values and desires. By focusing on the promise, you are aligning your efforts with this broader vision, ensuring that your actions and decisions are consistently directed towards achieving that vision. This focus helps to keep you motivated and determined, even when progress seems slow or the path forward is unclear. Keeping your eyes on the promise also involves cultivating patience and perseverance. The process of achieving a promise can be long and arduous, requiring sustained effort and commitment. There may be times when results are not immediately visible, or when the promise seems distant and out of reach. During these times, it's crucial to remain focused on the end goal, to trust in the process, and to continue moving forward with faith and determination. In addition to patience, keeping your eyes on the promise requires resilience in the face of setbacks. When you encounter obstacles or experience failures, it's important to view them as temporary challenges rather than permanent roadblocks. Maintaining a focus on the promise allows you to bounce back from these setbacks with renewed energy and a clearer understanding of what needs to be done to overcome the difficulties. The promise also serves as a source of inspiration and encouragement. When you are committed to a clear, meaningful vision, it can provide you with the motivation you need to keep pushing forward, even when the journey is tough. The promise is a beacon that guides you through the dark times, reminding you of the ultimate goal and the reasons why it is worth pursuing. Furthermore, keeping your eyes on the promise can help you to maintain a sense of perspective. It allows you to keep the challenges you face in context, recognizing that they are just a part of a larger journey towards a significant and worthwhile goal. This perspective helps you to stay focused and grounded, avoiding the trap of getting bogged down by minor difficulties or distractions. In practice, keeping your eyes on the promise involves setting clear, actionable goals that align with your broader vision. It means regularly revisiting your objectives, assessing your progress, and making adjustments as needed to stay on track. It also means surrounding yourself with reminders and sources of inspiration that reinforce your commitment to the promise and help you stay focused on your path. Ultimately, keeping your eyes on the promise is about commitment, focus, and perseverance. It's about anchoring yourself to a vision that drives you forward, even when the journey is challenging. By maintaining this focus, you align your actions with your deepest aspirations and move steadily towards achieving the promise that lies ahead. Hope in God's renewal is a profound source of strength and encouragement, offering a promise of transformation and fresh beginnings. When faced with life's trials, challenges, and periods of stagnation, the concept of renewal through divine intervention provides a powerful sense of hope and reassurance. It is a reminder that regardless of current circumstances, there is always the potential for a new chapter, a fresh start, and a revitalization of our spirit and purpose. Renewal often comes at times when we feel at our lowest, when we have reached the limits of our own resources, or when we are grappling with weariness and disillusionment. It is in these moments of struggle and exhaustion that the hope in God's renewal becomes particularly meaningful. The promise of renewal offers the assurance that our current state is not the end, but rather a phase in a larger journey that includes the potential for profound change and growth. The idea of renewal through divine intervention encompasses several dimensions. It includes the renewal of our inner selves, where we experience a deep sense of spiritual and emotional rejuvenation. This inner renewal can manifest as a new sense of purpose, a restored sense of hope, and a strengthened connection to our faith. It is a reminder that even when we feel spiritually dry or emotionally drained, there is the possibility for a fresh infusion of energy, inspiration, and vitality. God's renewal also extends to our external circumstances. It means that even when our situations seem bleak or our efforts appear to be in vain, there is always the possibility for change. This renewal might come in the form of new opportunities, unexpected blessings, or a shift in circumstances that aligns more closely with our aspirations and goals. The hope in God's renewal shows us that our current challenges are not the final word and that transformation is always within reach. Furthermore, hope in God's renewal encourages us to view our setbacks and struggles as part of a larger process of growth and transformation. It invites us to embrace the idea that our difficulties can lead to deeper understanding and greater resilience. This perspective helps us to see our challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for renewal and growth. It fosters an attitude of patience and trust, allowing us to wait for and work towards the renewal that is promised. The process of renewal often involves a period of transition where we may need to let go of old patterns, habits, or attitudes that no longer serve us. It requires a willingness to embrace change and to be open to new ways of thinking and being. Hope in God's renewal provides the strength and courage needed to make these transitions, offering the assurance that the process of letting go is leading us towards something greater. In practical terms, hope in God's renewal can inspire us to take proactive steps towards our own renewal. This might involve seeking out new sources of inspiration, engaging in practices that nurture our spiritual and emotional well-being, or taking actions that align with our renewed vision and goals. It encourages us to be active participants in our own renewal while also trusting that divine support is guiding and sustaining us throughout the process. Ultimately, hope in God's renewal is about embracing the possibility of new beginnings and trusting in the transformative power of divine intervention. It is a reminder that no matter how difficult or discouraging our current situation may seem, there is always the potential for change, growth, and renewal. By holding on to this hope, we can navigate our challenges with faith and resilience, knowing that we are supported and guided towards a future filled with promise and possibility. As we draw our thoughts together, let us fully embrace the profound truth of hope in God's renewal. This hope is not merely a fleeting sentiment, but a deep, abiding promise that infuses our lives with meaning and direction, even in the midst of our darkest hours. It is the beacon that guides us through the storms, the assurance that no matter how weary we become, there is always the potential for a fresh start and a new chapter. Consider this: every season of struggle, every moment of exhaustion, and every period of stagnation is not an end, but a precursor to a new beginning. God's renewal is not bound by our current limitations or defined by our present circumstances. Instead, it transcends our immediate challenges and offers us a vision of transformation that is both profound and attainable. It reminds us that even when we feel as though we have reached the limits of our own strength and resilience, there is a divine power at work, orchestrating a process of renewal that aligns with a greater purpose. In our journey towards renewal, we are invited to hold on to a vision of what could be. This vision is not shaped solely by our past experiences or current struggles, but by the promise of a future that is rich with possibility and potential. By keeping our eyes on this promise, we engage in an act of faith that aligns our efforts with divine guidance and purpose. We recognize that our struggles are not wasted, but are integral to the process of growth and transformation. Each challenge we face, each moment of exhaustion, serves as a stepping stone towards a greater realization of our potential and a deeper connection to our purpose. Moreover, hope in God's renewal calls us to actively participate in our own transformation. It encourages us to seek renewal not only through divine intervention, but also through our own conscious efforts. This might involve setting new goals, embracing change, and taking deliberate steps to nurture our well-being. It involves recognizing that while divine support is always present, our own actions and decisions play a crucial role in realizing the promise of renewal. We are co-creators of our journey, working in partnership with the divine to manifest the possibilities that lie ahead. As we move forward, let us carry with us the assurance that renewal is an ongoing process, one that unfolds in its own time and in ways that we may not always fully understand. It requires patience, trust, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. By maintaining our hope and remaining steadfast in our faith, we align ourselves with the rhythm of divine renewal, allowing its transformative power to work in and through us. Let us also remember that hope in God's renewal is not just about personal transformation, but also about the impact we have on the world around us. As we experience renewal in our own lives, we become vessels of this renewal, spreading hope and inspiration to others. Our journey of transformation can serve as a source of encouragement and support for those who may be struggling, offering them a glimpse of the divine promise that awaits them. In conclusion, hoping God's renewal is a call to embrace the potential for change, to trust in the divine process, and to actively participate in our own growth and transformation. It is a reminder that no matter how challenging our current circumstances may be, there is always the promise of a new beginning and a deeper connection to our purpose. By holding on to this hope, we navigate our journey with faith, resilience, and a renewed sense of possibility, knowing that we are supported and guided by a power that is greater than ourselves. Let this hope be the driving force that inspires us to keep moving forward, to embrace change, and to trust in the unfolding of a divine renewal that brings us closer to the realization of our true potential.